everybody happy, but we can do all kinds of different things to make it a more fun place to work, make the job more fun. So we just started doing funky things and asking questions, and I started doing that with myself. So I started saying no to all kinds of different things, and it kind of like almost like a smart aleck, like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day. You want to do that? Nope, not going to do it. I don't do things on weekends now anymore. I don't do things in the morning. Somebody will say, "Do you want to come?" No. Why? Because you said 7:30. Well, yeah, you don't know. I don't need to. At 7:30 in the morning, I'm taking my kids, getting my kids up, and 7:30 at night, I'm taking them to bed. No. Answer is no. Here, no. And so it'll be fun like that. But I just started doing that with saying no a lot more. And I'll give you one. Oh, I don't want to go to it. I was gonna. It'll take me into another on another tangent. But that is what I'm really into now. So I'm in the culture, and if you think about Zappos, so there's they're not cheap. They're not the best price in town, and none of us. They don't have any stores, so none of us have seen them. But it's this incredible customer service, right? But you can only deliver that incredible customer service when you have incredibly happy people, happy in their job, and you kind of think about it, you might think, well, duh, but this doesn't happen. So we have had this, just intense, relentless focus on our customer for 18 years, and it's paid off. But after going out there this summer, I didn't think, okay, we're going to pivot now, we're going to focus inside, but we're going to take, if we have 18 guns pointing out, we're going to take at least 5 or 6 of those and point them back in, and really be intentional about our culture, our people, who we're hiring. Are we holding people accountable? What are the values? Are we hiring by those values, firing by those values? If one of you guys are just a smoking fast track, can move all kinds of needles, just smart, accomplished, and you go to Zappos tomorrow, and you can demonstrate that you can absolutely be a star. And if they pick you up at the airport and drop you off again, they're going to call the driver and ask the driver how they were treated by you. And if you are anything less than nice and generous, they will not hire you under any circumstances. And then they will fire you at that point. But if they do it a little differently, after 4 weeks, if you don't fit, they pay you $4,000 to leave. And when he was here in Kansas City speaking, one of the guys, there was a question, and somebody said, "How can you afford that?" And he said, "Oh my God, anybody who's been in business knows $4,000 is nothing compared to what if you hire somebody, the damage that person can do and the poison that they can share, we want them off there as fast as we can." And so that is, we're expanding the plant. We're going to do all kinds of things. Green Mountain does about $5 billion a year with that, and Nestle does about $4 billion with Nespresso.
Danny, would you say this is again one of those things that the brand needs it, but you personally are maybe a bit opposed to the idea?
Yeah.
It's a trend that you have to participate in.
I have this notion of being like Willie Loman. You're standing there clutching your IBM Selectric, and you can in your corner in the cabin in the woods all by yourself. I mean, that doesn't mean you have to kind of just roll over and go and do whatever anybody wants. But when I'm talking to my team sometimes about this, I'll just say, this is a lot easier for me to get my arms around than it is to get those 318 million people to do what I want them to do and buy what I want them to buy. I just can't move that much, but I can do this. And because there are a lot of complexities, there are a lot of moving wheels, and so sometimes it can seem overwhelming. And in our case, the easy one is to just say, just require everybody to give us 1 day lead time. If we required everybody to give us 2 day lead time, and so the way that looks for us, so we're in KC, and if you order today by, I think it's by 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock, we're going to roast it today. You'll get your coffee today or tomorrow if it's 1 day UPS. And so, and now if we do one day UPS, and then there's 2 day UPS. So I just, so 1 day is, outside Chicago, and I don't know how many roasters there are in that, but there's probably 500. So if I require a day, I've just added 500 more direct competitors that I don't have right now because their speed or velocity is a barrier, or it's in this case it's a kind of insurance, if you will. 2 day UPS. Oh my God. There's probably 3,000 roasters that can also get coffee to Kansas City in 2 days if we require that. Does that make sense? So we just continue to work on processes and continuous improvement and just efficiency. In almost everything, speed is your friend. It gives you margin, gives you leverage, gives you options. And I always think of it like as flying as with altitude. If you have altitude, you have options. If anything goes wrong, if you're just flying at right off the ground, you're dead. And same thing with if you don't have speed and if you don't have any kind of margin. No margin, no mission. I hear that now from a lot of the not-for-profits, which is really good. They're getting it. When I started, I know there wasn't much business acumen, and they just wanted to. I grew up, Catholic, and we'd always say, "Well, it's for a good cause," and it would make that sale of that time. You'd appeal on guilt, but what at least the American people want to do is as soon as that kid's not there, they reach out and they buy what tastes good. And I think the not-for-profits are finding the same thing. They have to find a way to sustain themselves because at some point in time that guilt is going to run out and it's going to work. I am definitely wandering now, but so how about any questions? Yeah.
I love coffee. I drink coffee all day, every day. I refuse to work for a company that doesn't have free coffee in the break room.
Is it? Oh, so you'll drink it if it's free?
No, I love your coffee. I had it actually at KU. I am a KU student,
cool.
So I had it in there. They served it just
at the Pulse.
So my question is, it sounds like you have lots of different strategies for growth. What is your single strategy for growth? Because if you're not growing, you're dying. So is it in your new products like the K-Cups? Is that kind of your singular focus? Or is it in cafes? You said it helps build the brand, build the recognition.
Yeah, we're only good. I won't say we'll never do another cafe, but nothing's in the future. We don't see anything in the future. But we want to continue to grow across the spectrum where we're at right now. So universities is a major growth channel for us. We just picked up Purdue last year and a couple more in Iowa this fall. So continue to do more universities, more restaurants, more coffee shops. Online, we're doing well there, but we could do significantly better. I would say it's through existing channels, and not really ruling out anything else, but continue to do better at what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And there's still a lot of room for us to grow right here. A lot of penetration, a lot more penetration. Yeah.
So I'm just curious about, as far as, obviously you have a pretty good market in Kansas City that you can get to real quickly, and you kind of did your circles up there.
Pretty sophisticated, isn't it?
And that works in your favor locally, but it obviously works against you as you get farther away. How aggressively are you trying to expand away from Kansas City, or how are you going to...
I really want to be pulled. If we're doing a good job, we will be. So we want to create something that people want. And that we want to do business with people who appreciate what we do. So, we're not cheap. and we're going to probably tighten our standards even more.
Is there? And I drink some coffee, not huge. Is there a freshness factor? Is there beyond like just the delivery time? I mean, is it better the day it's roasted? Or do you have to like put roasteries regionally?
Yeah, that's a great question. I won't say their name, but they have green packaging. But it takes some of them, even Illy. I mean, it might they stamp 3 years on their stuff, up to 3 years. We measure in minutes, hours, and days. So it's in specialty coffee. We say within 2 weeks of roasting, it's fresh. Now the industry would tell you within a year. The packaging suppliers would say 6 to 9 months. But we pull a vacuum, so we remove any residual oxygen and moisture, and then we do a nitrogen gas flush and seal it. So, most people probably can't tell after a month or two. So everything we do is really overkill for the most part. But if you send it to, we send it to every state. I'm sure every week we have customers all over. And I met somebody. Actually, I met somebody in Rwanda. True story. I was telling about what we did in this setting. It was at the ambassador's house, and it was Symington. Anybody from St. Louis know that name, Symington? He's from St. Louis. He's the ambassador, and his wife was from St. Joe. And they were getting our coffee through diplomatic pouch. We sent it to Virginia. We didn't know who they were. It was just some name out there. They'd been buying our coffee for years, and it held up. It's fine. But your question is really, fresh is better. And there are diminishing marginal returns. There's a point at 5 hours really different than 4 hours. There's a point of where it doesn't really matter. But I'd say within a 2 week frame, you're fine.
Seems like kind of a barrier to expansion if you want to maintain some of the key.
Well, there's 120 million people in that, and I'm fine with that market for now. I really am. A good sized university can buy $200,000 or $300,000 worth of coffee a year. A hospital may be a couple $100,000. And look at how many. Just think about the number of institutions of higher learning hospitals, and they're both I'm kind of keen on both of them on the growth front. They're sticky once you get in there. They're particular, and all the demographics go in our favor. Because when people go to the hospital, it used to be served what they're and we're not taking it anymore, right? The hospitals are changing everything that they do. A lot of them have chefs on staff now, so it's really coming in our favor. Yeah.
Sorry, I have a question. Go ahead.
Well, I kind of have a question. I lived on campus all 4 years when I went here, so I always went to the coffee shop by P-Sub. And so I recently just moved back out south and work kind of like where you're talking about over in Town Center with your other one. So I've only had Roasterie from Canada or anything like that. And I'm just sort of wondering, do you find yourself having to do promotions, specials, and stuff like that to compete with Starbucks? Like I said, I've only been in that one, but like to compete with more like the larger ones that are through the U.S.
Larger size chains?
Yeah.
Not really. We not really. We don't. We are definitely cognizant of them, and we don't. I want my staff to pay attention to them. I really don't. To the competitors. We're not like arrogant or snooty about it. I just want to focus on our customers, focus on trends, and then then I think we'll let our competitors focus on us. And no, so we don't. We really don't. We had to get into this. We had to retrain a lot of people. And we're handcrafted. Everything's by hand in our stores, and Starbucks still has all the push button stuff, and it's really Well, there's just a lot of milk